What is up, everyone? This is Dragon Ball Media, and today I bring you the first ever tier. Well, actually, I've done a couple more, I think, on this channel, but this is the first one I have done involving the Dragon Ball series villains. Now, this is going to be ranking, in my opinion only, the Dragon Ball villains throughout the whole series. So this is including Super, this is obviously including GT, the original series, and Z. So it's actually going to be really fun. I'm going to try to make the most informative picks that I can, just give you a little information on why I chose the characters and why I put them in the tiers we got. So I might as well just go over the tier list first. We got the God tier, so I'm basing this off of the character development, the purpose, the design, and kind of just, you know, the overall, my opinion on it and how much I enjoyed or got attached to the character. So we could just make it a little bit fair. Then that is where that is going to go. We have amazing, pretty good, average, and trash. So those are pretty all explanatory. I guess I could just elaborate on the average part. That is going to be for characters that are just not really good, nor are they worth the trash tier list. So the trash tier list, it'll come naturally. I'll explain when I put characters in the trash tier list or in the following tiers. You will understand why I have them in the way that I do. And also, I have to elaborate on this as well, that these characters are only when they were evil. So you'll see the androids and stuff like that in there, and we are only going to base this off of their time being evil. So yeah, without further ado, let's begin, ladies and gentlemen. And we have Android 13 at first. Overall, pretty terrible, although it was cool seeing them make kind of like a movie involving one of the androids. Unfortunately, it was one of the androids that kind of sucked, but overall, you just really can't complain. It had to do something. Didn't really like the premise nor design. Nothing about him really was fantastic, so obviously that is going to be an easy trash tier list pick. Next, we got Android 17. I'm not gonna lie, we're going to put him in the average tier list just because we are basing him off of the villain aspect. So not, after that in Super or what have you. This is just the villain aspect of him. Although he was pretty cool with the whole Piccolo fight, it was really good. He fought Tien, but other than that, he kind of just really sucked in my opinion. I mean, he really didn't really do much else, and he got sucked up by Cell. So yeah, in my opinion, definitely a better good guy than bad guy, especially in the Super series. Next we have Android 18, right up there in the pretty good list. We'll put her in the pretty good. She has some pretty good scenes with, Super Saiyan Vegeta, where she kind of beats the shit out of him, essentially. Breaks his arm, and, it's pretty brutal. And then she kind of has that romantic thing with Krillin, so that was kind of like a plus, even though that led on to other series, like, I'm pretty sure in GT and within Super, so that was really cool. But on the aspect of her being a villain, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I can't complain. Next is Android 19. That is going to be a trash tier list. Oh my god. Arguably one of the most annoying characters throughout the whole series, in my opinion. He doesn't really do much either. I think it's a boy, maybe a girl. Had a pretty annoying robotish, voice actor. It wasn't nothing redeemable at all with this character. The only cool part of him, I guess, is when Vegeta tore his arms off and then smashed his head, but for his sake, it was for all the wrong reasons on why that whole thing was cool. So yeah, not going to be a good pick for me. Definitely a trash tier pick, especially considering he was one of the androids, which they didn't really have redeemable qualities as villains anyways, but he was definitely down there as the worst. Android 21. Truthfully, I didn't think she was half bad. Her design and everything is pretty sick. She fuses with Buu, so that's something new for the androids. She's also got some pretty good moments throughout the video game timelines as well. So I think she's a pretty good tier list. I think that's a right fit for her. I don't see her being better than 18, but she's definitely not a boring villain either. So yeah, I don't think she's on par with 17, but pretty good. Bobbity, the old green ballsack creature. Another really annoying character. I don't really have a lot to say about him. The scenes where Buu kind of turns on him and abruptly kills him was pretty cool. But unfortunately, like I said, that does not work in his favor. So yeah, he doesn't really have any other redeemable qualities either. So he is also going to go into the trash tier. Next, we have Baby. I don't really see any other babies on here either. So we'll just say... Wait, hold on. This is Baby Vegeta. Okay, so we'll just say Baby as a whole. I'm going to put him in the amazing tier list, and I'll explain why. His arc alone his arc along with the Super Saiyan 4 transformations were really kind of the best thing, in my opinion, involving GT. There wasn't a lot of redeemable qualities within that series, but I think Baby and the Super Saiyan 4 transformation definitely held its own in that series and kind of just made it a little bit more enjoyable. His design across the many character variations that he has is just, just how he started and where he came from was really interesting. Not quite God tier list, definitely not God tier list, but, pretty close in my opinion, of course. Next we have Bojack. Speaking of really cool character designs, our boy Bojack is definitely really cool. I enjoyed the movie Bojack Unbound. One of the earlier movies throughout the series, just the whole idea of space pirates was really cool in my opinion. And Dragon Ball Heroes, he's kind of plain, but, we can't really judge that off of Dragon Ball Heroes of all series. So overall, just judging the character as a whole, I'm going to put him in the pretty cool tier list. Not my most favorite movie villain character, but definitely not one of the worst. On to Broly, and this is the Dragon Ball Super Broly version. So yeah, we have different variations like the Boos and the Brolys and stuff like that. So this is going to be based off of the Dragon Ball Super movie Broly. And yeah, easily one of my favorite Dragon Ball movies as well. And definitely my favorite, Broly. This is going to be a no-brainer. He's going to be in the God tier list. His backstory alone was just really a lot better than the other previous Broly movies. Really, what can you say? There was really not a negative thing wrong you could say about the movie and Broly. I really can't think of anything negative when it comes to this version. So yeah, easy God tier list. Broly, we'll just say Broly number 2. This Broly is from the movie Broly Second Coming. This is easily trash tier. Just the idea that you create a movie and the Broly character around him fighting Goten, Trunks, and Videl. I mean, what? Then he gets launched into the sun by Gohan, so the ending really wasn't it just kind of did a lot of detriment to one of the most famous Dragon Ball characters. And I know at the time this was a lot long. This was way before, Dragon Ball Super, where Broly became, the badass that he is. So this is way before that. So really the early development of the Broly characters really wasn't all that, supposed to be really cool. So, essentially involving him with side characters, essentially, and then blasting him into the sun wasn't the biggest bash, but it also really didn't help the character at all. So I'm really glad that this stayed non-canon as well. So anyways, yeah. Trash tier list Broly. On to Broly number 3 in our last Broly. This version comes from the legendary Super Saiyan movie. Honestly, it may offend some of you, but we're going to have to put him in the average tier list. I like the whole premise of the backstory and why he grows to hate Goku. It's really not something remarkable, but it's just kind of different, I guess. Maybe that's why I like it. He's just, overall, he's just this super insanely powerful character who's controlled by his father Paragus, and, nothing really else happens with him. He has some pretty memorable fights throughout that movie, but he's not good or bad, so I guess I'll just leave him in the average tier list. He's definitely not as bad as the Second Coming, though, for sure. Next, Captain Ginyu. I actually really like this character. I mean, not only is he a leader of one of the more memorable groups throughout the whole series, but his ability to steal bodies is just kind of insane to me. I know we will kind of see that further along with, Cell and Buu. Just sort of stealing elements is kind of interesting, but Captain Ginyu kind of does it a lot differently. I know we kind of see some similar things, like I said, with Buu and Cell, but the way Ginyu did it, I just like it a little bit more. And also a little bit of a fun fact, in the Dragon Ball Z game Super Saiyan Densetsu, Ginyu's first body swap was with this kind of rich kid in the class, because he wanted to be popular and he was rich and stuff like that. So just his involvement that early on with his abilities and just the character itself was really cool. Terrible game, but pretty good character. So, I'll put him in the amazing tier list. Why not? Might as well just put him in the amazing tier list. I mean, if I like him, then there we go. Anyway, Cell Jr. We're going to have to put them in the average tier list. They don't have really any redeemable qualities either. It was pretty amazing seeing how strong they were, but, there's really no reason for me to, see them again. Cell's dead. They were kind of like a one-off thing. On to Cell. Easy amazing tier list character. I mean, easily one of the best villains throughout the whole series, especially in Z. Z definitely had one of the more memorable villains. out of the whole series. He's got amazing fights with Piccolo, the androids, and, you know, ultimately with Gohan. The idea behind the whole Cell games was actually really enjoyable too. I just like the whole tournament premises they've added within the original series, and then with Z, and then especially within Super. I know a lot of people don't like them, but me personally, I enjoy it. And then him being the reason Goku had to sacrifice himself, that was actually really, you know, cool as well. So many memorable moments with this character. The only really thing keeping me from putting him in the God tier list, though, is I just don't see him on Broly's tier list. I mean, Cell was cool and all, but for seeing him in the future, he kind of did his thing, and we know what he does now. I just, you know, I couldn't see him doing anything more redeemable or new in Super or anything after that, so yeah. But still an amazing character nonetheless. I can't really take that away from him. On next, we have, wow, this is going to be a little bit difficult, to be honest, Cooler. I love both of his movies, that being Cooler's Revenge and The Revenge of Cooler. I love his design and the different variants, such as Meta Cooler and Golden Cooler and Heroes, you know, and his basic and his powered up version as well. But I can't really say I like him as much as I did Cell, so we'll just put him in the pretty good tier list. Like I said, I like him, but he's not, you know, like I said, he's not Cell. That honestly kind of kills me too, because I like him more than I do 18, 21, and Bojack. You know what? Actually, screw it. I'm going to put him in the amazing tier list. I like Cooler. There, I said it. I love him, just not as much as I do Cell. And we're not going to rank these in order either, so we're just going to put him in the tier list. That doesn't mean Baby is better than Cell and vice versa. If I really wanted to go in depth on that, I could, but I'm just not going to. So don't get it mixed up when I say that I like Cooler over Cell, because Cell is definitely a lot more redeemable than Arbor Cooler here. Up next, we have Dabura, really badass character design. Just this whole Majin demon looking character who turns people to stone when he spits on them. It's just really so cool and unique. I mean, he's literally the devil from the demon realm. Unfortunately, though, with his story, it's, you know, really lame. He's mostly a scene follower with Babidi, which honestly is probably one of the worst characters in Z. I wish they did more with this character, because he's easily one of my favorite, you know, designs. Just not, you know, doesn't have really qualities as far as story goes, so we'll just have to keep him in the average tier list. Up next, we have Demigra, and you know, just because this is bugging me tremendously, I am going to add a... How do I do this? Let me do this really fast. I'm going to add a row below, just because of Demigra. Let that be a thing. We'll just name the letter E, because why not? And we're just going to name it good. So obviously, you know, Demigra is going to go in the good tier list. Overall, insanely badass design. I love reading the Dark Demon Realm and the Dark Emperor sagas. His backstory is okay as well. Just, you know, he's this wizard who turned evil, who fights Cronoa, so he can be the, you know, superior time controller or whatever. I really liked him, but I think I like him more for his design instead of his purpose. So yeah, he's just good. Not pretty good and not average, but he's pretty good. I can't really say that, you know, I could say much else for him. Dodoria. Okay, so he's going in the trash tier list, without question, just because of his design and just boring story. However, the fact that he had 2 brutal kills on Namekians that were censored does give him a little bit of bonus points. Unfortunately, it's not going to bring him into the average tier list, but those kills were absolutely brutal and insane. I mean, those were legit probably one of the most brutal ways I've seen anyone die throughout the whole series. You know, if you've seen the uncensored versions, you know what I'm talking about, but damn, those Namekians did not deserve that. Up next, we have Dr. Gero. I'm going to put him in the pretty good tier list. I know a lot of people don't like this character, but me personally, I sort of like him. Just the idea behind an evil doctor who steals people and makes them insanely strong just to, you know, take out Goku is really cool. I also really liked how they gave him some sense of good when he created 16 after the death of his son. So, you know, he's got sort of an evil side and a sentimental side, which is kind of, you know, it makes you like the character a little bit more. I know a lot of people don't, but that's why I liked him. And not only that, but he becomes a pretty badass villain as well. So just overall pretty good. One of the best scientist characters in the series, but definitely one of the best evil scientists for sure. Next, we have Ace Shenron. I probably mispronounced that. I'll put him in the trash tier list just because I don't really remember him too much. I know he didn't do really much of anything and then dies by Super Saiyan 4 Goku. So obviously he didn't have that many, you know, redeemable qualities if I can't remember him. So yeah, I guess that's just really all that I could say about that Shenron. Up next is Frieza. God tier list, easy choice right there. Not my absolute favorite, but easily my top 3. His backstory and his transformations are just godly. I absolutely loved how he transitioned in Dragon Ball Super as well, because becoming part of Goku's team. And he was still villainous. Like I said, he still had some very villainous qualities going into Super, but overall, this is just, I'm assuming, judging off of the Z version. So, I just really loved, Frieza and throughout the whole Z series. Definitely one of the best, most memorable, if not the top tier fights throughout the whole Dragon Ball series. It was just really cool. The only thing negative I can really say about him is how much of a pussy he is when he, comes close to death. I think that's a little bit unfortunate, but he's very smart and manipulative, so it kind of works with the character. So, yeah, I really like Frieza. Up next, we have Garlic Jr. I'm going to put him in the average tier list. He's not really good or bad. I actually just really enjoyed the Dead Zone movie, so I guess that's really all I can say. Didn't really care for his buffed up version of Super Garlic form either. But nonetheless, he's an okay villain. He's average. He's not really good or bad, but did like the Dead Zone for sure. Next, we have General Blue. I really like this character for what he is. He's had a lot of screen time over the years. He's sort of like an arrogant asshole, but he has some, pretty cool and funny moments. Most notably, when he had that guy killed or executed just because he picked his nose. I thought that was actually really funny. And the Mystical Adventure movie was one of my favorites. And in that, he actually serves under my favorite character of all time, that being Chiaotzu. So just because of that and all of the times we've seen him over the years, he's actually just a reoccurring side character. He'll go in the pretty good tier list. I can see him being just as good as Bojack in 17 for sure. Or 18, sorry. What am I even saying? Up next, we have Height Jack. This one is kind of indifferent. I'm really indifferent on this one. I don't really care for him, nor has he done anything that would lead him into the trash tier list. We'll just say average, just to play it safe. He's got a really cool design, but his character overall is just kind of worthless for what he is. It was cool seeing him in the Prison Planet saga, I guess, but once again, he was kind of lame in that as well. Really cool design, sort of, I guess, sort of a redeemable design, but definitely not something that he's going to get out of the average tier list from me for sure. Up next, we have Hiradegron, and, I always butcher this character's name too, by the way, especially in games. I actually really liked Wrath of the Dragon. I appreciate that they tried to make this, monstrosity of a villain. They just tried to do something new. Unfortunately, he's nowhere near the level of villain potential threat as, like, the androids or the Ginyu Force or just any new movie villain. So once again, we're just going to have to go in the average tier list. I didn't really like him all that much, and there's probably a really good reason why he was kind of like a one-off, but yeah. Up next, we have Hit, and this is kind of weird because they leave out a lot of actual villains, but they'll include people like Hit and Jiren and just kind of weird. Oh well, but Hit is an amazing tier list. He's not god level material just because of the lack of backstory he has on top of his purpose. He's kind of just this badass character who can manipulate time and has no real purpose other than to protect his world within the tournament. So yeah, but from that, his power, his moves, and his overall design that keeps him pretty high up on the list. He's definitely a lot better than most, if not all, of the pretty good tier list characters. But if we're talking about specifically villain-like, I would probably put him lower just because he's more of an antagonist, but it is what it is. We're just, I like Hit. I can't put him in the pretty good list, and I can't put him anywhere below amazing because that's what Hit is. He's amazing. Up next, we have Janemba. Before we put him anywhere, I just want to say that I absolutely love Fusion Reborn. Definitely one of my favorite Dragon Ball movies. Just the scenes with Piccolo, Gohan beating Frieza, and the dictator character. Just so unorthodox and unnormal. I just really loved it. As far as Janemba goes, I'll put him in the amazing tier spot. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to put him in the amazing tier list for sure. I love seeing Goku fighting him in the hell, essentially, even though it was kind of filled with his own weird polka dotty atmosphere. Then seeing him transition from this huge fat design to this badass demon devil form. I actually really enjoyed Janemba. Definitely one of the better Dragon Ball movie villains, which isn't really saying a lot, but Janemba is definitely up there as far as the first or second spot. Up next, we have Hit, and he's definitely going in the amazing tier list for sure. I really hate judging antagonists as villains, but it is what it is. Just because of his purpose, along with the implications of his troubled backstory, that's what lands him in this situation. I do think he's a little bit better than Hit. Like I said, you have a little bit more of a backstory with him opposed to Hit. He's, in the Tournament of Power, like I guess comparatively speaking, we had a lot more interaction with Hit. So we had, a little bit of a development, a reason to like him. And with Jiren, we just seen him in the Tournament of Power, and we kind of get a little bit of a backstory that, he had this really troubled past, and all of the people around him was dying, and that's why he trained and, became the powerhouse that he is. But other than that, we kind of just seen him in the Tournament of Power, and he was just this dude who was really strong. So yeah, I guess I can't really put him in the God tier list, nor would I want to put him in the pretty good. So I think an amazing tier list spot is pretty good for that. Up next, we have Kid Buu, arguably my favorite villain throughout the series. The reason I'm going to put him in the God tier list is, he's sort of the opposite of Frieza, whereas, Frieza is smart, powerful, and manipulative. Kid Buu lacks empathy for pretty much anything and just causes absolute destruction. Most of the villains on here, this list anyways, have somewhat of a reason or a backstory that makes sense as to why they're evil or do the things they do, but Kid Buu's purpose is just made to fuck everyone up. One of the characters that isn't smart, he doesn't really give a shit about anything and just destroys. And I know there's no backstory really, so that kind of is unfair to some of the other villains. But I mean, because of his threat to the Z Fighters' unpredictableness and purpose, I easily gotta say he is a God tier list character. Up next, we have King Cold. Absolutely trash. I know it'll piss some of you off, but you have the father of some of the strongest badass characters throughout the series, only for him to be completely worthless. His design is okay. I like the horns and that whole thing. He's probably a good 20 feet higher than most other characters, especially his sons. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like if you're the father of Frieza of all characters, you should be able to do at least something threatening or badass, but he just missed the mark completely. Up next, we have King Piccolo. He is a pretty good villain. I'll give him the amazing spot. His role in the original Dragon Ball series was really cool. His backstory after splitting from Kami was really interesting, and just his purpose to rule over West City, or, essentially the world, is typical villain-like, and they really didn't try to go for anything new there, even though it was, the beginning of the series. But he kind of just wanted to rule the world, and, he did a pretty good job of it for a pretty good time. And the scene of Goku flying right through him is arguably one of my favorite scenes throughout the whole series, and he also birthed one of our favorite characters, Piccolo, so that's pretty cool too. Pretty good, amazing character. Up next, we have Lord Slug. Probably another unpopular opinion, but he's going in the trash tier list for sure. I'll put him in the average spot. I'm not going to put him in the trash spot with Dodoria and Babidi. He kind of just takes a lot of the same story elements as King Piccolo, which was very uncreative, and the whole Lord Slug movie was kind of boring to me. I don't know. It's just, he's not a very memorable character, so I guess I just can't put him anywhere else. Up next, we have Majin Buu. I'll put him in the amazing tier list. Yeah, I'll put him in the amazing tier list. I'm not really sure or set, because he's definitely a lot better than 18. Man, I don't know. Yeah, I'll keep him amazing. Like I said, he's better than 18, Bojack, and General Blue for sure. We'll just keep him over. Overall, he's a very memorable character, especially since he's still in the new series. So obviously he's got some redeemable qualities that, fans love if they're going to put him in everything new. He's got this unpredictable kid-like behavior where, up to that point in Dragon Ball, there really wasn't a character like that. And the only reason I liked his design is just because of how different it is compared to his other forms. So overall, I like Majin Buu. If he didn't have 100 other transformations, I probably wouldn't like the design all that much, but with these really muscular and skinny like figures, I think that's what draws me to Majin Buu a little bit more. Up next, we have Buuhan, or Super Buu, mixed with Gohan, Piccolo, and Gotenks, I think. I'll just play it safe and put him in the good tier list. He's actually a very interesting character, but he's not really a standalone character. Most of the Buus aren't, but Buuhan just fused with other fighters, fought a little bit, and then it was on to the next form, really. Nothing too different, but he wasn't bad. He wasn't terrible. Majin Vegeta. I'll put him in the amazing tier list. Don't want to mess anything up here. Okay, so it looks like I gotta zoom here. Let me edit this real fast. There we go. Majin Vegeta. I really like him, but he went ahead and screwed up my screen recorder. Just the idea of Babidi turning Vegeta back into his old self, but a lot stronger, is really fulfilling because we see him turn into a good guy over time. It was nice to see him kind of turn back to his old self. Not to mention the scene where he has a glimpse of good left in him, enough to sacrifice himself to kill Buu and save his family. And that scene alone just sent chills down my spine because he's supposed to be this massively, arrogant and evil villain, and he just does that. I don't know. I just really love Majin Vegeta as a character. Up next, we have Zamasu, and I actually didn't really care for the Future Trunks saga. I really honestly didn't. It was just annoying, and I just loved the idea of the tournaments and all of the new characters that it filled with, and seeing the drama and depressiveness of this particular saga wasn't really it for me. However, I'll give credit where credit's due. Zamasu goes in the amazing tier list in my opinion. Zamasu just, I don't know, just having this quiet character character, secretly turn on his master just so he can, be this big shot was kind of interesting. There's not a lot of negative things about him that I could say. So I guess, the saga just ruined my excitement for this character overall. But, I still think he's an amazing tier list character as far as villains go. Next, we have Fuse Zamasu, and man, I'll put him in the pretty good tier list. Yeah, I'll do that. I'm pretty sure it's cool to see him and Goku Black Fuse to create this character who just fucks everyone up. But I think what I enjoyed more than the character is our heroes. Our hero characters fighting and ultimately destroying him. It showcased Future Trunks a lot when he, subsequently cuts him in half. Then he just becomes this crazy sky monster who eventually just gets defeated by Zeno pretty easily. So, overall he's pretty cool, I guess, but I like the idea of the regular Zamasu more. Next we have Mira. I like his design and seeing him in the Dark Demon Realm and the Dark Emperor sagas, that was really cool. But he just felt like, kind of like a carbon copy of other villains. I guess I don't really know how to explain it. It just seems like we've seen this before and his purpose and what he does before. I don't know. It just didn't really excite me all that much. I don't really know what else to say. He's not bad, so we'll just keep him in the good tier list. He wasn't anything new. No rush of breath air or anything like that. Next we have Monster Carrot. Now we're getting back to the old days. An absolutely terrible name for a rabbit whose prime ability is to turn people into carrots, by the way. But I really enjoyed him. It definitely fit with the original Dragon Ball lingo with the whole humor atmosphere. He'll go into the pretty good tab. I know we didn't really get to see a lot of him, and he was also a one-off character, but overall, I just, with what they had going for it, Dragon Ball being more humorous and stuff like that, this really just fit into that lingo really well. So yeah, overall, I think he's a pretty good villain. Up next, we have Moro, and this is easily a god tier list. After watching the Super anime, seeing all of these gods, angels, super powerful characters, and just god form transformations, I was really, really questioning on how they can go a step above that. I was really actually kind of worried. How can you go above that, right? But I think they nailed it with Moro, his backstory, his goat man look, his new look even, and his magical abilities. Everything about him is just, it looks fresh and new. I honestly can't wait to see him within the anime too. So yeah, such an amazing character. I can't really complain. Up next, we have Nappa, and he is going right into the trash tier list. I like the comedic element of him, but always being next to Vegeta, it just felt like he was a side character that was made just to show how strong Vegeta was. He gets beat up by Goku pretty easily and then dies by Vegeta just for being annoying or weak or something. I can't really remember. And he was also one of the reasons why my favorite character Chiaotzu dies. So for that, you get the trash tier Nappa. Now I don't feel bad. Nova Shinron. I'll put him in the good tier list. He's pretty okay-ish, definitely one of my favorite out of the Shadow Dragons, but that really isn't saying a whole lot since, that whole thing was kind of trash. I enjoyed watching him team up with Super Saiyan 4 Goku to aid in defeating Omega Shinron, but that doesn't really sound very villainous, so it's more of an enjoyment over, thinking of him as a really good villain. So I guess I'll just put him in the good because he's not average, but he's not pretty good as well. I think that's a pretty good fit for him. Omega Shinron, he'll go right into the good tier list with Nova. I don't know. I guess I just really didn't like the Shadow Dragons all that much at all. Really cool premise, but really lackluster with the characters and the designs. I guess the designs were really cool. That was the only redeemable quality they had, but just the Shadow Dragons as a whole was a pretty terrible letdown, not gonna lie. Next we have Poi Poi or Poo Poo or however you want to explain it. Really weird choice of characters to add. He was kind of near the bottom of throwaway characters for sure. I like the episode he was a part of with Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan on Babbidy's ship going through the different layers and stages and stuff like that. But this character is worthless. He's definitely trash tier list. He was forgettable. Why they continuously add him in the games is, I don't understand it, but it is what it is. Raditz, man, I really like Raditz for what he is. But what he does kind of lands him in just the good tier list. I love after watching Goku grow up in the original series and then as an adult showcase his new son to all of his new friends that are older, and then out of nowhere you see, seeing that Goku has an older evil brother that comes out of nowhere is just, really, it shocked me. It was really shocking, and it was actually really cool that all of this was happening. Like, you showcased Goku as an adult with his new son and all these characters, and then out of nowhere Raditz just comes, and it's just all in the first episode. It definitely made Dragon Ball Z really, really interesting. especially from the first episode, as I mentioned. It was just unfortunate that he showed up, he kind of pissed everybody off, they fought, and then he died. He died in a pretty cool way with Goku sacrificing himself, which he will do a lot. Just seeing Goku die like that was also very interesting. But like I said, that doesn't really pertain to Raditz being a good villain. He kind of just was pretty worthless and lackluster for the idea behind his premise. So I guess that just landed him in the good list. I wish they would do more with him, but it's going to be kind of hard to do anything with him now that he's dead and it's kind of long gone. But overall, I like the whole idea with Raditz when he was there. General Rildo. I don't really care for much of him or the Machine Mutants. His design is like really kind of gross. I don't know. I really don't know much else to say about him. He's definitely going in the trash tier list just because I don't really remember him all that much either. Pretty ugly design, pretty ugly character, pretty ugly colors. I don't know. I could sit here and talk about him all day being just really, really trash. Definitely, I think right now, if I had to take a guess, I would say either the Second Coming Broly 19 or General Rildo is probably going to be the bottom of the bottom as far as trash goes. And that actually says a lot when you have Nappa and Poi Poi in there as well. Up next, we have Goku Black. I'm not going to take a lot of time to explain this one. He's an amazing tier list character. I think I was kind of, just burnt out on the whole copying people idea. Seeing Cell and Buu essentially do ideas of it just kind of made it a little bit boring, nothing really new. But Black, in my opinion, did it better with the backstory. I think this was one of the better premises in the Future Trunks saga, which is, once again, a saga I didn't really prefer or like, but Goku Black made it a little bit more enjoyable, so I will keep him in the amazing tier list. Cyberman. Once again, this person left out other main villains and added Poi Poi and Cyberman. Really weird selections, but, obviously tier list. Don't even have to explain that one. No reason for them to ever come back or do anything. It's just they're throwaway characters. Salza. I didn't really like him either. His design looks like they took different parts from other characters and put them into like some random character generator. He's pretty annoying as well. So once again, we find ourselves back into the trash tier list. Up next, we have Silas. I'm very indifferent about this character because I like the idea behind a character going from good to bad. We haven't really seen that a lot. Usually it's going from bad to good. But I think what sets me off with Silas is that he was in Dragon Ball Heroes. I don't have a personal hatred for the series, but it's pretty just lackluster, and it's just unfortunate Silas' story is within that series. So I'll still put him in the we'll put him in the pretty good tab. Like I said, I didn't really have a good or bad things to say about him. If he was in any other series, I probably would have put him in the amazing tier list, but unfortunately his premise takes place in Dragon Ball Heroes, so that kind of sucks. Up next, we have Spopovich. He's gonna go into the trash tier list. I don't really care for him or Yamu, and their designs were pretty lame. Super 17. Once again, I don't really have good or bad things to say about him. They managed to, however, take a already badass character and make him look ugly and worse. He's not necessarily bad. He'll just, I don't know. I'll just put him in the average tier list just for purposes. I thought the fight with him and Goku was pretty cool, but pretty forgettable character, and it's a pretty forgettable series nonetheless. Up next, we have Super Buu. I'm also going to put him in the average tier list. Yeah, we're going to keep him in the average tier list. Probably one of my least favorite of the Boos. A lot of his screen time was, in this comedic situations, which isn't a bad thing, but compared to the other Boos, he wasn't really anywhere near the top. I did like the scene of him entering his own mind and body, though. That was actually pretty sick. So, you know what? Just for that, I'm going to put him in the good tier list. I think he's pretty comparable to Raditz. I don't think he's pretty good. But I think he's better than average. I think he has more good qualities than he does bad, and I think a lot of the good qualities had his, had this Buu character not be really annoying, not be overly destructive, which he was, but they added a lot of really good comedic inputs and scenes with this Buu character. So I thought that was really redeemable and pretty enjoyable. Up next, we have Toa. I'm going to put her with Mira. Yeah, we'll just put her in the good tier list. She wasn't really bad, but, I guess she's just okay. I think it would have been unfair to have her and Mira in different tiers. They're mostly together throughout the whole Dragon Ball Heroes anyway, so, it is what it is. Up next, we have Turtles. Just because I like the Tree of Might, I'll put him in the pretty good tier list. Yeah, we'll just keep him in the pretty good. I would actually like to do a Dragon Ball movie tier list as well. So if you guys would like that idea, just leave a thumbs up and comment below. But yeah, Turtles, I mean, he was pretty good. He was pretty good. I like the movie. I like the idea behind an actual good movie villain. And Turtles did pretty good. I'm not going to say he was amazing, but I'm not going to say he was just good either. He's pretty good. Pretty good. Vegeta, no question, God tier list character. I don't even really have to explain this one. Vegeta as a villain was nearly perfect. I do like him as, you know, that standoff good guy-ish sort of mentality now, but Vegeta as the villain was always one of the more memorable characters and definitely God tier worth. Yakon, easy trash tier. Love that episode and the stages of Babidi's ship, but a throwaway villain with no real redeemable qualities. Zamasu, wait, hold on. We have Zamasu again. Oh, wait, hold on. I completely misrepresented, merged, and Zamasu. I was just looking at him for the longest time being like, didn't I already put you somewhere? What is going on here? You know, I already put him somewhere, so I might as well just put him in the amazing tier. He was pretty good. Like I said, I didn't really like the saga, but Zamasu as a whole, a really good premise idea. Now for the moment we've all been waiting for, and we end on the greatest villain of all time. The one and only Zarbon. You and him, Zarbon is such a good villain. He is taking my breath and my words away. I know that him and Dodoria were, kind of like this clique with Frieza, but I definitely cannot put him with Dodoria just because Dodoria was absolutely trash. Zarbon did have some pretty good qualities. He had this, ability to turn into this giant monster looking upgrade, even though it didn't really do much of anything besides higher his power level, but he was subsequently defeated by Vegeta pretty easily. And it was something about Zarbon that I actually did like was that he was kind of this quiet, mysterious guy who you would have thought had this like immensely strong capabilities of power and stuff like that, but then he begs for his life when he's getting beat up by Vegeta. So I think that's just going to land him in the average tier list. So anyways, guys, this has been my tier list. If you enjoyed and if you agreed, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe, as I would like to do more tier lists in the future. And if you would like to do this tier list yourself, I have a link down below where you can kind of just do your own and actually send them to me on Instagram. I would like to see your guys' input on where you think villains are. Like I said, this is my personal opinion only. So if you guys have any differences of opinions or where villains should go and not go, then please leave a comment down below. And like I said, send them to me. My Instagram is Dragon Ball Media. And without further ado, guys, this has been Dragon Ball Media, and I will see you guys in the next video.